Do we just jump right into it this week? What's the game plan?
We don't have much to talk about.
Well, we do have to talk about you did the podcast with Jen, which isn't out yet, but I think people want to know how it went because I told people that you were going. Did you get the... People don't know, but Jen has like a mute button if you're going off the rails. How many times did she press it on you?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's got like a mute button.
I have no idea.
Was there ever a moment where there was just a long pause where you were saying something and she just wasn't paying attention?
Well, the whole thing is a long pause for her because I don't shut up, so she doesn't get to say much. She just sits there.
Yeah.
But then again, isn't that what a good interview is? When you
I think yours went longer than mine. She and I did like 2.5 hours, but then she lowered it down to like at 45 minutes or 40 minutes maybe. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. I feel like you guys went longer than I thought. You might be getting a full hour, which is some bullshit.
Wow.
I gotta talk to Jen about that.
I had some follow-up stuff for her after the interview. I thought, sorry, I don't mean to be, but the dog's gonna want to go now. Keep him quiet. Okay.
Puppy.
Follow-up things to talk about for her, but anyhow.
Well, hopefully she'll do the podcast. So.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Now, what did we just talk about being in the center of the mic?
Yeah,
look at this, guys.
Well,
I give points, right? As a producer, executive, CEO, all that stuff. I give her the points and she still doesn't follow 2 seconds later. So it's like, what are we doing? But, yeah, how are we looking? Looks like we're good. Now, last week, for once, we had the camera go well.
Yes.
Right? But the audio is corrupt. So
that was
the MacBook didn't decide. It was like, we're not going to keep that footage.
Right.
So I was pissed about that.
And our producer is leaving to go to his friend's house.
Yeah, because he wants to go to the Philly game.
Oh my God!
He's supposed to be here, getting paid nothing to work for me.
How dare he do that when he gets paid nothing?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. But and then Kenny headed back to yesterday.
Yeah,
yesterday?
Miami, yes.
Everything's starting to be a blur.
I know.
I'm going stir crazy here, mother. I feel like I'm in a prison.
Now you know my wolf. Yeah. You picked the place to live that's so expensive to fly to and back.
Yeah, I know.
So
Not so much. Yeah, expensive is one thing, but also the pain in the ass of it happening. Also, now we're kind of at the. There's no point in going back for a week and then coming back.
You've been telling yourself that since the beginning of December.
Yeah. So there's no point. But.
Living's pretty good here. Okay.
That is.
3 squares a day, groceries in.
3 squares, yeah. You throw me a piece of cheese and call that a meal. This is sickening. You're lucky I'm not under 18, otherwise I'd have to call typhus immediately.
Yeah, sure.
Those steaks we had, those $200 steaks we had tonight.
Get out of here.
Each. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone. Well, actually, one thing I do have to mention because we talked about at the end of the podcast last week. Mom's hooked on Attack on Titan. Chris, when can we watch
the next?
Chris, when can we watch the next episode?
Hooked is a stretch. No,
we just got to we're on episode 8. I want everyone to know my mom was like, "Oh, how many episodes is this? 30?" And I was just like, "Yeah."
You're 30. Liar.
I was like, "Yeah, it's 30 episodes." So we're in pretty deep now. Once the politics starting, then Mom's gonna be like, now she'll get the notebook out.
It's just that I'm not a big anime person. I'm not for the anime generation with the whole bug eyes. I'm scared.
Yeah, it's funny because we watch it all the time. Like I never notice that stuff, but then when you say it, I'm like, oh yeah, it is. It is like that.
Cheesy.
Because that's how that's how you have to show emotion with character.
I know, it's anime. It's cartoon stuff.
Animation.
Anime. So.
But yeah, again, once we just got to the point, everyone's going to know this because it's getting so popular, one of the greats. Just got to the part when Aaron just, we just found out that Aaron's the Titan that starts, so we got a long way to go.
Okay, we didn't just find it out. I knew it
when
I was watching it.
Everyone knew it. The question is, how does he get to? There was no one that saw that and was like, "What? It's Aaron." Okay. To your point, he looks like it, but trust me, it goes.
All right. Okay.
We'll watch another 12 episodes tonight.
Oh yeah.
We'll watch another one, but let's get right into the first big news because we're living it right now. For those of you that don't know,
drones.
The drones. We're about to get. I hate to say it, but I think I'm waiting for the drone strike.
Yeah, the drones.
We have drones flying all over our heads, and our government doesn't know what's going on. I know you sent an article on it, but we were coming back from our diner yesterday. Shout out to Time to Eat Diner, which we've been to for the last 28 years.
Yep.
No, more than that.
More than that.
I'm surprised the fact that they don't give us free food at this point, considering we've paid their rent like 1,000 times over, just is a fact.
No, the fact that they have the Trump family posted all over, but not the Tucci family, is outrageous.
Yeah, I know. Considering he goes there once, we go there for 32 years every Saturday.
Because he's been having sippy cups in the high chair all the way through till now.
Exactly. They've literally watched us grow up.
That's right. That's right.
How dare. What was I saying? So we've been having these drone issues. Oh, the reason I brought up the diner was because when we got out of the diner, we finished the other day, there was a lot of traffic. And it turns out a drone went down.
That's right.
Now, this is what's sketchy about it. We don't know what it is. We don't know whose drones they are. We don't know what their motive is. We have that guy, I forget, you told me his name, the New Jersey, not a senator, I forget what he was. He was talking about
Representative
I guess
Drew.
he's a rep.
He's Van Drew.
He goes to, he's on TV and he says, there's an Israeli mothership off the coast that's sending these drones over. Iranian, sorry, not Israeli. Whew, big difference.
Yeah.
Iranian drone strike, or mothership that's sending these drones over. And then all of a sudden, the U.S. Pentagon says, no, that's not true. We have no evidence of that. But their answer was, it's definitely not U.S. We just don't know what it is.
Right.
So their answer is, it's probably some guy in America that has 50 massive drones. Each one probably $100,000 plus. So I'm waiting for it.
I saw a comment from one person that says, okay, they don't know what they are. They don't know where they're coming from. But we're not supposed to be worried. How do they know that?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's a don't panic factor that they're using. Yeah. Obviously, it's a don't panic factor. I just had the
response?
word. I guess, but yeah, it's you can't deny. Well, what's funny is when you go on Google right now and you see that section of fact checks, they're like, "There's no drones." Like drones in New Jersey, there's no drones. It says false. And it's like, well, no, that's not true because we're seeing them.
Yeah.
Like you and I are physically seeing them over the sky or hearing them.
Yeah, they're actually trying to convince people that those are not drones, it's airplanes or small aircrafts and
8 to 10 feet long.
Yeah.
So they are pretty. They aren't ginormous by any means.
No, but they're commercial sized drones, and I'm learning about drones because of this that I never knew. You can't shoot it down. So even if it's hovering in your backyard, it's illegal for you to shoot that down. I have a problem with that. I'm ready to take a baseball bat to one in my backyard, but apparently I'm not allowed to do that.
Mom throwing tomahawks up into the sky.
I don't want something troubling. In this day and age, I don't know what this thing is going to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, and now all the videos are coming out because everyone wants their 15 seconds of fame of, like, the AI videos of these drones look like they're shooting at something, but as of right now, we haven't seen any ballistics or whatever.
Right. We haven't seen any aggressive behavior from the drones other than I heard one report of a police drone attempting to make contact or get close to the drone to pictures or whatever, and that drone took off so fast that there was no way the policeman could keep up. That was a comment I heard.
Well, we had a crash landing, right? We had one, which is alleged.
Some of them are causing problems because there's so many of them, and they're hitting, I think you said power lines. And
I believe that's why we were in traffic the other day.
Yeah, messed it up.
Because it sounds like a power line went down.
They talked about one going down to Hillsborough, which is not too far from us in New Jersey, over towards, as you're heading towards Princeton area, and they searched and couldn't find it, but they swore one went down. It's just more the point of just tell us what it is.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to know what it is, as someone said, shoot one down and find out. You know, as municipal... the sheriff, the police.
Yeah, that's why it's
take one down. Take a look. What is it?
We have aerospace rules. Like you can't even on your own property take your drone up to a certain height. But these things could just kind of go around. So it's gotta be our government or someone in government, and then they're just doing something that's not out to the public yet. It has to be, otherwise they would have shot it down.
Well, as I said, I sent you out today. Agreement opens test corridor stretching from Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst to Dover Air Force Base, linking to New Jersey Aviation. So Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. June 2nd, 2023, an agreement to create a test and evaluation corridor for the development of uncrewed aerial systems and automated advanced air mobility technologies was recently signed by officials representing U.S. transportation, blah, 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 blah. So in other words, there was an agreement done back in June that they were going to test these aerial things on the coast, basically here in New Jersey in certain areas.
Yeah.
All that's fine. And, you know, as this guy wrote, this is Sean Farash, this is the source of the activity. The truth isn't as exciting, but it's all right there. Then why are they telling us this?
Yeah.
Why didn't a report come out saying, listen, we said this back in June of 2023. We're testing these particular items. How is it the Pentagon doesn't know this? How is New Jersey doesn't know it?
Do you think that this is just full-on incompetence and lack of communication in the Pentagon and whatever our military is. Because I'm starting to chalk more and more up to government being just too big and not
obviously
communicating
that's
with each other.
but it's just rather bizarre that no one knows what it is.
Yeah.
If it's something more complicated, and if you're just doing testing, and this was posted, again, these haven't been aggressive as far as I know. No one's been shot at. None have landed in people's houses. If it's just a testing, whoever runs this test, uncrewed aerial systems, needs to make a statement that this is what we're doing. We're not threatening anybody. We're doing drills or whatever.
Right. So, yeah, we're just waiting. We're just waiting for one to go down in our 100-acre backyard.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen. We'll send out the
They'll
out
go
the
on
ATVs.
we have this helicopter pad in the backyard that they've been trying to land on. We're like, let's not.
We'll take out the
When
the
Dad takes his
ATVs
helicopter.
and we'll all spread out and try and find it in the backyard.
Yeah. It's such a pain because there's just so many trees sometimes, and then there's like, you have the facility that has the helicopter pad on it. Yeah,
the hangar with the
Is Dad's jet still parked there? I don't even know. I haven't been back there in a while. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. As I said, all of our friends and other cities around us have been seeing them, so it's just a matter of time. Each one set with a nuke. No,
yeah, well, I'm just looking at, to your point, at all the comments underneath the one I just read, and it's just unbelievable. The craziness that gets out there when people don't know the facts. And I'm not saying the crazies are wrong, as we've learned conspiracy theories aren't that crazy anymore. But the fact that people have to spin their wheels like this to make a statement.
Exactly. So, yeah, to your point, like, so many people see it now that you gotta say something at this point. Yeah. So let's move on to the United Healthcare CEO killer, right? Yeah. This Luigi, whatever. So this week, we talked about what the motives were, what we thought was a hitman, whatever. Which still, this guy somehow got a silencer on a gun, which is pretty wild, something weird. But we've learned a lot about this kid in the past week. Now, I do want to point out, and we'll get into this at the end, we know more about this kid in 1 week than we know about any of the Trump assassination attempts. Right. So, either way, so let's take it back. So this kid, this is what I've learned. Yeah, he's 20...
20-something in
Penn. I shouldn't say. He's younger than me, so I call him a kid. If he's in college, he's a kid. But, so this guy, again, good-looking kid, good shape, had everything going for him from what it seems like, came from a pretty successful family, gets this terrible back injury. I don't know if we know why he had this back injury. Has a surgery where I don't know if you've ever seen, did you see the picture? No. His spine is literally like screwed together in the bottom where his spine meets his pelvis, essentially. And because of that, he became like impotent, I guess is the word. Like he just couldn't have relations with women. And I guess it just psychologically messed him up because he gets the surgery. The day after surgery, he just disappears from his family.
Yeah, but we don't. This is all alleged, as far as I know. I don't know if this is true.
Okay, well, I was off the assumption that this is definitely the story that a friend said that was in contact.
Somebody who knew him said that. They also made comments like he was perfectly healthy, like his back would bother him, but he was able to surf, he was able to go out with friends.
Right.
It's not like he was crippled or anything like that, which throws a little damper on the whole story. Like it doesn't give you credence to the story of he was going crazy from his injury, but I don't know what the real truth is.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of injury it was, but I was watching a podcast where they were talking about the screws in this kid's back.
Yeah.
They're way longer than any screw that you would normally put in a person's spine.
Right.
So then they talked about, which you and I talked about today, which is doctors sometimes will propel these surgeries because they get kickbacks on the surgery. They get kickbacks on the screws. Yeah. So that's why they try and use these big screws for money. Or for kickbacks, I should say. Is that true? Maybe not. That's just a theory. But either way, this kid goes out of his way to go. And what's weird, I don't remember the full path, but he goes from UPenn to Maryland to New York City and then to Philly and then back to Maryland.
Yeah.
So this kid knew what he was doing.
And somewhere along the line, he wound up in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
where he was eventually caught.
So,
and he has many different IDs.
Right.
You know, it's a very odd story. And I believe he has pled not guilty.
Right. Well, that's going to be that's going to be an ongoing investigation for a while. I think he's going to just plead insanity in the
I
end
don't
of
know.
it.
I don't know what they think what their case is going to be. You would say not guilty by reason of insanity, right? Or
You know how he got
caught?
Did you see how he got caught? How they found his face?
No, I mean, it's at McDonald's and something.
No, he goes to so like right before or right after he shot the CEO.
Yeah.
He goes to a Starbucks.
Oh,
Yeah, and attractive barista or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's hitting on her,
Yeah.
and she goes, "Let me see your face," and that's all it took.
Right, that was before it.
Okay,
right,
I guess
the
it was
shooting,
before.
only because I remember hearing, and again, everything was coming very fast, and you know it was true.
The
but they made a
timeline's a
comment that he
mess.
was sitting in the Starbucks waiting for the CEO.
Right.
That's the story I heard. I
Yeah.
don't know if she recognized him beforehand and matched what the guy that took the mask. I have no idea, but
And the question is, I wonder. We still don't know what the motive for shooting the CEO was, and not like the doctor that performed the surgery or whatnot. But again, we know so much about this kid, but we just don't know about who took out the
right,
president.
and we don't know what you're talking about these screws and everything. No one said anything as far as I know that he was upset about his injury, other than
The friend,
person.
yeah, he
who
hasn't said
is-
anything yet.
Might be going for his 5 minutes of fame.
Oh yeah,
By
that's
coming
true.
out and saying something, oh yeah, I know him and this is his story, which sometimes that doesn't help people if they're making stuff up or they're assuming they know stuff that they don't know.
Right.
His parents are involved in the nursing home industry. That's where they made their money.
Interesting.
That's the mother and father own some sort of care facilities, nursing home facilities, which get reimbursed by United Healthcare and whatnot by private companies.
So I think he would like United Healthcare rather than.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's related to that. Maybe it's multiple things, an injury and everything else. He'd had enough. But, yeah, it's a very odd situation. And, yeah, it's getting a lot of attention, rightly so. But, imagine if they investigated some of these other,
whack jobs.
yeah, interesting people that have tried to take shots at our presidential candidates. And I don't know.
Speaking of surgeries, just because I see it here on the right, Nancy Pelosi takes a tumble.
Yes.
She shattered her hip. I don't even. How
She
old
had
is
hip
she?
surgery,
Yeah.
84.
84.
Yeah.
Man, that's a tough recovery.
Yeah, well, it's common at that age, right? When you fall, you tend to
Yeah.
be.
News coming into
They
that
want-
former
I wanna see
House
the-
Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
They won't talk about. Nobody wants to say what caused the fall.
Yeah. Hey, we all know. We all know. I do wish we had a video of the fall.
Yeah, I mean that's not on
That
anything.
would, yeah.
It's down marble stairs. So I'm sure it was painful.
Oh yeah, I can get Biden falling down the stairs at the on Air Force One, but we can't get
Nancy.
Nancy Pelosi. Come on,
Yeah.
come on, former Speaker of the House. Come on.
And wait for the meme showing AOC pushing her down the stairs because they've been fighting lately.
Oh, have they?
Well, Jamie Raskin heads up the House Select Committee, the highest committee in the House of Representatives, a standing committee.
Right.
So that gives you a lot of power, right? He wants to go for Speaker of the House, if and when the Democrats win in 2 years and take the House back, which often happens in an election when the president comes in. So if he leaves, AOC would be next in line, or she's vying for that position. That's what they've been all saying. If you recall, a few weeks ago she's going to run for president.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now she's going for some committee.
Bitch can't even walk.
No, right? Okay. No, not Nancy Pelosi.
Oh,
I'm
AOC.
talking about
Oh, okay,
AOC.
I gotcha.
Nancy Pelosi's, she's...
Yeah. Well, she said she wanted to run again. Right?
Yeah, but she hit the Mecca. She was House Speaker, so
Oh,
she's,
yeah, good point.
She's riding it out for, I don't know, just influence. So anyhow, this past week, it's Nancy Pelosi says, hey, no, AOC is not going to have that position. So apparently they've been behind the scenes butting heads. So it's the old school and the new school coming along, and who's
I feel like you
control
don't
it.
want to butt heads with Nancy Pelosi. I feel like that's a very bad idea, but I don't think AOC is smart enough to know
because
that.
84 years old, she fell down and broke her hip. These people don't live forever, and they're not as sharp.
Nancy Pelosi
forever.
seems like she'd try and get some
Oh
like
my
little
God,
kid's
you're right.
heart.
She'll
Yeah.
be like 100 years. Oh,
Yeah, she's gonna
terrible.
be
Don't say
like
that.
she's gonna be like the Rockefeller or Rothschild, whichever one it was that they just kept putting like young hearts in the grandfather. Apparently, he lived to like 120, but everyone thinks that that's just a conspiracy.
Well, that was that movie Get Out.
Oh, was it?
With the not the heart, but they took the brain. They would take the brain of a minority person. Daughter would date some minority, bring him to the house. The father's a neurosurgeon. They'd hypnotize him, drug him, take his brain, and put it in somebody who paid them a lot of money to switch brains because they wanted the younger
Oh,
brain.
really?
Yeah, it's a really creepy show.
Huh.
Creepy movie. But having said that, that was the theory behind it. No, I think it's
The theory of the Rockefeller though is basically the great grandfather who I think died within the last like 5 or 6 years officially. No one saw him for many years, but he would like make an appearance every now and then, and they were trying to figure out the age of this guy, and then they found out like his whole body was like just scars from surgeries. They would just keep swapping out organs essentially. Okay. He allegedly lived to like 120.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. But...
I don't think the body could hold up, but
yeah,
he had. I think it was like even medically. I think he had like 6 heart transplants or something like that. Someone fact checked me on that.
Unless there was something wrong with it. Maybe he had a condition.
Yeah, maybe.
We want to talk about it. He had to get new organs because
that, or we're gonna get a knock on the door later.
I know, right? No names, please.
So what were you gonna say?
No, just that. In her case, so you had this vying for position, and she was on some talk show with Katie Couric last week, or interview last week. They just heckled them for the first few minutes, Nancy Pelosi and Katie Couric, and it was funny to see because they're not used to being the ones being heckled like that and nonstop and relentless. So,
really?
We'll see what happens. There's a lot of changes going on in our government right now.
All right, what else? I'm trying to think of what else.
I wanted to segue from the the United Healthcare scandal to this Montreal man.
Oh yeah, I was going to segue to that too.
As we talk about healthcare stuff.
I think we talked about it last week.
Well, it always comes up, right? Because we keep pushing us towards socialized medicine in this country. Right. They're trying to frustrate everybody.
Do it.
This is the warning to everyone. I know their game. They want to frustrate the hell out of everybody. We'll all throw up our arms and say, just forget it. Let's just do government health care, thinking that that's going to save me my paperwork and my headaches. It's not. I'm here to tell everybody it's not. So this poor man up in Montreal, Canada, which is, of course, socialized medicine.
Yeah.
39 years old. He goes into the ER. Mm-hmm. Now, when he gets there, they evaluate him right away. They make sure he's not dying. So he says, all right, nothing emergency. Go sit in the waiting room. He was sitting there 6 hours in the waiting room to be checked again. Finally, he says, this is ridiculous. I'm leaving. I'm going home. He gets home. He posts something on the internet. I had a health scare last night. I'm okay. It wasn't a heart attack. He had nausea, pain in the left side of his chest, and he was all clammy. That's what made him, and he had trouble breathing. That's what made him go to the hospital. 39 years old. Okay? Dead next day.
Yeah.
Aneurysm. Died of an aneurysm. Very sad story. Young man. He had a lot of issues in his life. Apparently, he had drug abuse. He got past that. Changed his life around. Got into really good shape. Was very proud of his lifestyle and how he was turning it all around. The family very sad. But just something to keep in mind, socialized medicine, 6 hours in a waiting room. Now, we're not far away from that for those of you who have been in a city waiting room.
Unless it's like a legitimate emergency, though.
Right. And people do make mistakes. Nothing wrong with that. You can't necessarily blame the hospital because he didn't pose to be a real, they evaluated him. He didn't look like he was going to drop dead. But I don't think they had time to do the EKGs and what that needed to be done. So it's just a lesson learned of 6 hours for that. That is not uncommon.
Oh, yeah, no.
In socialized medicine.
I've told the story before. Matt Sprague waited 6 years to get his ACL fixed.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe there's more to that story, but again, if they don't see it as a necessary surgery, they're not going to do it right away. You get on a waiting list. Right. So Matt had to wait. I think we talked about it on his podcast, but he had to wait I think it's either 4 or 6 years to actually get that fixed.
It's ridiculous.
And they only fixed it when he was in the military. Right. So if he wasn't military, he probably would have still not been able to get that surgery.
Yeah.
So,
well, and as a reminder to people, like things like kidney stones or whatnot, things that are very painful. This is also the catch-22. When you're in that much pain and you're not going to get it fixed for months or years, they're giving you heavy-duty opioids to help you deal with that pain. That's how you get addicted to those things. Right? Sometimes they'll give you like an 8-day supply or something if you're in tremendous pain before surgery of some opioid to take the pain away, like a Percocet or something strong, right? That's 6 to 8 days. You got to go a year with that pain. People get addicted because you're taking it every day.
That's how you create drug addicts.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you get a whole society. That's why you get people on all sorts of drugs, not just that. And time again, when you start talking to young people who are addicted to street drugs, they started with prescription.
Oh, yeah.
And then the doctor said, I can't do it anymore, but I'm still in pain and I haven't had surgery or whatever. Oh, well, so they go out and they get it on the street, like a heroin or whatever.
I mean, statistically, most homeless people are either, they get to homeless because of either mental health,
Yep.
PTSD, soldiers,
Yep.
and then people who started, and I don't know if this is homeless, but this is more so the drug addict homeless, is because of an injury and then prescription drugs.
Right.
The ones that actually get addicted to, I think it's heroin. Fact check me on this one. I think that's like the smallest percentage. People who get just addicted to hard drugs.
Well, I don't know any more the percentages of it, but I don't think we're going to go down the right path if we do socialized medicine and people have to wait. Everybody thinks it's great. Oh, good, I don't have to pay for Medicare. I don't have to pay for my, the expense of it. It's ridiculous. But there's a side to that,
Right.
If the government's paying for it, who's going to med school? It's going to be crap.
Oh,
You're going to make nothing.
Yeah.
So why am I going 8 years just to get paid, some standard rate? Or you're going to get, certain people get paid a lot, whatever. Certain cities you get paid more. And there won't be enough doctors. People won't want to train for it. As it is now, try and get to a doctor. I've been trying to get a doctor for my mother down in North Carolina.
Right. And
the first person said, so we called last month, which was the end of November, or beginning December. The first available appointment was in March.
Right. My problem with the socialized medicine argument, and you and I talk about this all the time, but there's a famous streamer named Hassan Piker who I believe he was born in Canada, moved down here. I don't know the whole story. He's always pushing the socialized medicine, right? But no one ever brings up that it's not really socialized medicine being the issue. It's the big pharma that ups the charges of, or ups the charge of insulin, medications that in other countries the exact same brand is pretty cheap. Like in Canada, it's significantly cheaper. So we go after the socialized medicine aspect when in reality we should be going after the big pharma and asking, hey, why the hell is the insulin in Canada $15 but here in America it's $115?
Well, that's one issue.
And we say it's capitalism.
But that's not all of social. I mean, because we're not a socialized medicine country yet. We're teetering on it when we started to do, the great
Obamacare.
Even before the Obamacare, when we started. I mean, you go back to Lyndon Johnson. That man really screwed up this country with all this freebies from the government. When you start doing that, right now, you kind of on a slippery slope. And it becomes, well, if you're going to do it for some people with Medicare, then it becomes Medicaid. That, and essentially it becomes a big bunch of people are on socialized medicine and a big bunch of people are not, and they have to pay for themselves and everybody. Right. That's where it becomes a problem. And that's why they're pushing you to the point of saying, well, let's just make it socialized. Why should you make these people pay?
Let me tell you guys, I've been teetering on the socialized medicine after seeing how much of a pain in the ass it is to get coverage. Because I remember, so when you turn, for those of you that aren't in America, when you turn 26 here, you're off your parents' insurance. Or 25, 26. 26, you're off your parents' insurance. Then you have to go and get your own insurance. But there's only certain times in the year where you can get full insurance. So
otherwise you have to get it month by month.
Month by month and become partial. It's a pain in the ass. I've had like 12 different insurance cards because you were waiting to get the full. But given, in their defense, I did it way after my birthday, which I think during your birthday they give you a pass. Yeah. But I don't know how long it is. But
no, by the end of the month. So you have to do it by the end of the month of your 26th year. Yeah. So if your birthday's beginning of the month, you have a full month before you have to do it. But keep in mind, that is recent. Recent being since, I think, right before Obama, maybe somebody passed, again, some legislation. Why the hell do you have to keep your adult-ass kids on your insurance?
What are you trying to say, Mom?
No, I'm saying in general as parents. This is how backwards it has become. It used to be, you went to college and you got a job. And why'd you do that? Because you got a degree, because you get benefits. That was a perk. Now it's a requirement. Everybody has to give benefits. And if you don't get benefits with work, well, then the government has to subsidize it. They tried to make it mandatory with Obamacare. Everybody must have insurance. But the courts ruled that out and said you can't force people to do that, right? Because they tried to give it a penalty to young people. So now all of a sudden you have the option of covering under your plan young people, your family member up to 26. Really, there's no need for that. It really isn't. Go out and get your own insurance, right? If you can't get a job with insurance. But,
guys.
Everybody wants it both ways. I'm a legal adult. Well, technically you're not. You're still a dependent because probably the biggest expense for you, your parents are covering, meaning under the umbrella of your parents. Right. So as you've learned from us, when you have...
Oh my God.
I don't know what that is.
Oh
when
my
you
goodness.
have insurance.
How unprofessional.
Like that, right? What was I supposed to say? Oh, so the person who's employed has the insurance. They cover themselves plus dependents. That could be 1, 2, 3 people. It's the same price, right? So naturally, it was easy to say, well, put all your kids on there until they're, I don't know, let's say 26. I think if some people had their way, they'd make it 30.
Yeah.
But who's bearing the brunt of that? Two entities. The person who's employed and the company. Because now they have to cover that individual, that dependent, to 26. In the past, you're off at 21, right? Or 18, right. I forget what it was. So many things have been screwed up. When we were younger, I talked about this before, you very rarely went to the doctor.
Oh,
so
yeah.
trust me, the doctors made out on this, right? You very rarely went to the doctor because parents just didn't do that.
You broke your arm, you were walking that shit off.
Well, you didn't have the $20, which is what it would cost, full price, to go see a doctor. Parents just didn't do that. If you were really sick, like a cold and a fever, I actually am old enough to tell you, I had a doctor visit our house once. They used to do house calls.
Whoa.
Yeah, right around the time I was a little kid, they stopped doing that.
That's some Wiccan shit.
It was amazing, you know.
That's some Blair Witch.
To think about it. But that, in a way, that makes sense to wrap up a really sick child. But again, we were really sick.
Yeah.
We weren't just like with sniffles.
That's it. They came with the ginger and the herbs.
Yeah, right. The leeches. But that's...
It's the bubonic plague.
You ask a lot of people my age, they would say the same thing. I don't want all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I'll pay for every doctor's visit because I don't go every time I have a sniffle. And if I have a catastrophe, insurance pays for it.
Well, now you won't because... Well, yeah, but now you won't because it costs so much if you don't have insurance.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've made it so ass backwards. Yeah. So it was great for doctors. And I can remember I was at my grandfather's funeral. It was my grandfather's or uncle. And one of my older, it's actually my father's cousins, but they were about our age, second marriage thing. I remember talking to one of them. He was living in Chicago, and he was getting involved in something called an HMO. I was like, what is that? That tells you how old I am, right? And he was explaining to me, it's a new health plan. So that's about the time, I would say it was the 1980s, that the insurance industry latched on to what you guys all know is common now, HMOs, PPOs, where they said, hey, let's do this. Let's collectively hire doctors. We'll set the price. I'm making it simple here. There's a lot to it, but
well, hold on for our viewers. What's the difference between an HMO and a PPO?
So one's preferred provider. The other one is you have to take the provider that they offer in the group.
So if it's in network.
No, this is it. That's
nothing to do with that.
That's secondary to this.
Oh, shit.
So in the past, you went to a doctor, whoever you wanted. You paid the bill. He, usually he, because there weren't many women. They treated you. You went home. That was it. There was no follow-up paperwork. There was no, I'm going to go get insurance or apply to insurance. If you had something seriously wrong, that's when insurance would kick in, that you got through your employer. Okay. So around this time, they decided, well, we're going to change healthcare in this country and make it better. Okay. So they said, let's get a bunch of doctors. You have to go to one of these doctors in this group. So now you've guaranteed patients/customers for these doctors. They can't go to anybody else but these doctors, okay? You doctors, you can only charge a certain amount for these people, right? If it's a whatever visit, whatever treatments. So the doctors say, all right, I'm guaranteed patients, I'll take less money, right?
Right.
Because I don't have to go out, I don't have to wait, I don't have to compete. And the HMO put it all under this umbrella of other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. But then what started to happen was all these people were going to the doctor. Doctors were getting backlogged. They tried to expand it with more doctors. Now all of a sudden you couldn't get into the doctor in the HMO because he was too busy. Because everybody under the sun was popping in now because it was, designated doctor, and I hurt my finger. I have a head cold. I need a vaccine. I got, a headache. People were going for everything. And now the doctor's hours were being used up. But now it became a business because the HMO or the healthcare company that ran it was saying to the doctors, okay, you're only allowed 5 minutes a patient. If you spend more time than that, it's cutting into the profit.
Right.
So this is how we change the nature of healthcare.
I was watching a doctor on YouTube, the famous Dr. Mike on YouTube, who was talking about how, it's very, because I forget if he's a practitioner or whatnot, Love to talk to that guy.
General practitioner.
Yeah, he's here in New Jersey. I don't know where he is though. He was talking about how patients come in all the time and like say for depression or whatever, and I think he gets 5 to 10 minutes with each person. Like, you're not gonna figure out what this person has. Like, you need a full history. You need a lot of things that you're just not gonna get in 10 minutes based on how fast patients come in and out. Right. So he might be in a. I don't know if he has his own private practice, but I think he's more of like a hospital doctor. I think he's like house.
U.S. touches about Medicare, which is a form of socialized medicine. It was meant for the older people when you retire. Everybody gets Medicare in this country. Literally socialized medicine.
Yeah.
Now, there are other things that you do with, like an Advantage plan and what have you. But that's the ultimate in any old person. They're old, so their body's breaking down. They have a lot of issues. They're lonely oftentimes because they have nothing else to do in their life.
Right.
You get a Medicare doctor. These people are in there constantly for every ache and pain. They're elderly.
Yeah.
Now, the doctor may or may not mind it, but an older patient takes a lot of time, and he's only getting a set amount. He's going to make more if he sees another patient that has private insurance, right, that may pay more than what's negotiated, because remember, they negotiate their rates. Medicare, you have to accept the government's rates. I'm paraphrasing, but you only have to accept their rates. So whether I see 80-year-old Betty or 15-year-old Betty, there's a huge difference in how much money I'm making in those 5 or 10 minutes. And it becomes a business.
Right.
A lot of doctors, as we've gone more socialized, they're not making enough money. So that's when many of them started to say, I can't afford to be a GP. I got to specialize. I got to be a dermatologist or a cardiologist or, something in a specialized area, because you make more money with fewer patients. It's just a thought, but
it's not good.
No.
It's not good.
No, but before people are quick to jump into that, they dangle the socialized medicine is wonderful. Start looking at some of these countries and ask yourself, you think it's bad there? Oh, and I'll give you one more story really quick.
Oh, go ahead.
So my friend from the UK, she knew people over there whose child was very, very sick.
Are you talking Mrs.?
Yeah. So there's socialized medicine over there. Friends here, I don't know if it was them or friends they knew, said, bring him here. There's a doctor who will treat him and take care of him. The doctor treated him, gave him the surgery. He was fine. They were indignant that they had to pay that doctor. It's so ingrained in them about socialized medicine. Why should I have to pay? I mean, they did, obviously, but like, why should we have to pay for him? That's medicine. That should be open to anybody. Because medicine is capitalistic also. You got in to see him because we're not socialized medicine.
Right.
You would have been in the same boat.
You would have waited.
Right.
Like the guy that had the aneurysm.
Right. And we also, not to say other countries don't, but we used to have cutting edge research and development because doctors were paid to advance, to come up with new ideas. Pharmaceutical companies wanted that, procedures, whatever. So you came to America to get in to see the doctor and get the latest treatment. Because the doctors in the UK could know all these treatments, but they can't treat everybody with it because they're so backlogged because it's socialized medicine. That's the ass-backward system that they work with when you start socializing it.
Right. Maybe in a parallel universe we'd have some. See that?
There you go.
See that transition,
I'm loving
Ma?
it. Loving it. That Google being mocked like crazy for their comments.
Google says it appears to have access parallel universes. So I read through this, but what do you think? I want to hear your.
Well, for what they know, this quantum chip is tapping into a parallel universe. They're calling the quantum chip Willow. Willow can outperform the fastest computers. They used a test. It really didn't prove very much. So they had this quantum chip do some sort of mathematical equation, right? Which apparently did it fast and couldn't be done by your highest level computers. But into reading an article and hearing some of the people say, that's great, but the answer's useless. It doesn't even matter what it is.
So basically, for those of you that I'll try and explain this one based on what I saw. So we have something called binary, right? So ones and zeros, and a lot of quantum computing is basically the ability to read in between the ones and zeros. That's kind of what quantum computing is. So this thing's so fast, it was doing even between that, and it's like, okay, so that's great, but it's useless information because we don't have anything to actually like
to apply
add
it to or use it for.
So it's great to have. So this idea of this is where I got a little mad when I read the article. The guy goes, "Oh, it's like we've reached a parallel universe." No, not really. You're just making something sound more special than it is.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just,
the doctors and physicists are mocking Google for even saying that at this point.
I mean, it's great that you can do it, but until we can apply it, you put the cart before the horse, right?
Right. So they're getting so advanced to do nothing. That's
exactly.
great, but where you're going with this, and that's what many of these
I
scientists
guess it's great that we're ahead in that technology for when we are ready to answer questions, but we don't even have fundamental, like, problem. We have a solution that we don't have a problem for yet.
Right, and I think they're questioning, I don't know enough about it, but they're questioning, parallel universe, really. The Willow uses qubits, Qubits, and they described it as it's not binary because it's on, off, or you can have both at the same time, right? So
that's a very strange way of putting it. The way I always put it is like, imagine you have, right, you know how we have like, so in layman's terms, you have 1 and then you have decimals, right? Yeah. So 1, 1.0, 1.0, 1.0.
Yeah, 1 and 0.
That's how we do it. So imagine quantum computing is you have 1, you have a 0.0, then you have something in between the next 0 and the 0.
Right.
So that's like how almost like I want to say molecular we're getting when it comes to numbers.
Yeah.
Like there's something in between decimals. So it's like a new form of math. So it's able to just calculate really fast. Now, again, I'm using super layman's terms.
Yes, I know, because for your idiot mother to understand.
No, most people don't know what quantum computing is.
No, and I read the article, and the person, that's how she, I believe it was the female doctor, that's how she presented it to kind of explain how it works in a different way than your standard binary system, which most of the high-tech computers use right now. Yeah. And yes, it is achieving things that eventually high-tech computers can do it also. It just takes longer.
The part that I never understood was, okay, so now we've added more numbers. How is it faster?
Right, how is it
So I would say it's more accurate than faster, but clearly I'm wrong. I mean, speed is definitely a factor, but...
Or maybe how would we know if it's accurate? I think maybe it's more speed-oriented, but the accuracy, you can only test so much because it's kind of useless information.
Yeah.
It's not something that
unless the speed comes from the fact that it can go through more numbers and imaginary numbers that don't exist faster to get to the point that they need to.
Could be.
So,
depending on what the formula is.
Yeah.
Their goal is to scale up Willow so it could be useful one day. Okay.
Yeah, for one day. Yeah.
No, not for one day, but so one day we'll keep working with this technology and it is going to be useful. We can't apply
for one day. Yeah.
Okay, Okay,
exactly.
We'll wait till that happens.
We're not going in there. I don't know what the use cases for that is, except for the fact that we have the ability to do it.
Yeah.
But you still have to have the human mind come up with a question to actually utilize that. Like a computer's not going to be able to...
Right. Something mathematical to answer.
Yeah. You built the fastest man alive who can't go anywhere.
Right. So, basically, and that's great. And he's living in a parallel universe. Yeah. Well, good luck to him.
What else do we have? Let's see. I mean, I don't have too many more. I guess we could go through this one really fast. So we had the big game awards last night. So this is really the only...
Is it that time of year already?
It is. Remember we did it last year too, right? We talked about it. So this was the 2024 Game Awards.
Yeah.
My friend, so I had to send Matt Sprague an apology last night because he says it best. Matt Sprague is 100% correct. The Game Awards are dog crap. Like, I don't know who's voting for these. Everyone has the same consensus right now. There's no way the Game of the Year that won should have been Game of the Year. It's a great game, but it's just not. So we're going to do what we did last year. Let's just go through the nominees and who won for each spot.
Oh, lucky me.
Well, that's what we do. We are still a gaming channel at a certain point.
That's true.
Okay, so first off, everyone knows, which is why we're mad. Black Myth Wukong didn't win Game of the Year, which, again, everyone was like, what? So... Player's voice was Black Myth Wukong. I don't know what that even means, player's voice. They're just adding categories. That's like, what the hell are we even doing? It's just, it's become such a joke. Player's voice, which I guess means like, I know you guys voted for this to be Game of the Year, but it's not Game of the Year. Well, okay, so what's the point? Best audio design was Sensuous Saga Hellblade 2. Played that. So let me start by saying I've pretty much played every single game on here this year with all the categories. Mm-hmm. Hellblade 2, good game. I didn't even finish it because it's a little too cinematic and too slow. So it couldn't have been that good, but I'll give it to you. I'm one of those people, I do not care about audio in a game. Okay. I know that's kind of taboo to say, but I've never, unless it's like an audio-driven game, like Guitar Hero or something that's beat-based.
Or podcast.
Yeah. I couldn't.
This is their audio.
Yeah, I couldn't give a shit. Best RPG was Metaphor Refantasio, which I played a couple hours of. It's good. I thought that was in the contention for Game of the Year, but it's just such a long game. I didn't have the time for it.
What's the one you really liked? Was it Indiana Jones or Star Wars?
The one that came out this week?
I thought that was when you were raving about it at the beginning of the year. You had low expectations of it, and you said it was really, really
Probably
good.
Wukong.
No, I didn't think it was that. I thought it was a Star Wars or an Indiana Jones. Anyhow, go ahead.
I had low expectations. Hold on, I gotta think about it. I mean, unfortunately, nowadays, there's a lot of games I have very little hope for, but end up being pretty decent. Okay. So maybe I've just set my standards so low. Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3. Sure. I mean, there's not much community. Honestly, on this list, I think the only one is Baldur's Gate 3. Plus, most of these games didn't even come out this year. Like Fortnite's been out for how many years now? And that game had such a huge fall off. Games for Impact, Close to the Distance. Don't think I played that one. This is the one I actually barely touched any of these on. The winner was Neva. Sure, whatever. Best VR AR game. Now, we talk about this all the time. VR is kind of in dire straits. There's not much. So, a lot of it's like porn games, which is weird, right? Yeah. So, luckily, the one that won was Batman Arkham Shadow, which I haven't played, but I see videos on it. It looks fantastic. There's not much as we said, there's not much else.
How often do you do your VR AR?
I do VR a lot. It's just, in the end, none of the games are good enough to make a video on. Like, I played the new Metro Awakening game, which was supposed to be big. Mm-hmm. And it's okay at best, but it just, in the end, I had high hopes and I was just let down. But apparently the new Batman game's really good, so that one makes sense. Best esports team. Again, we don't care. I don't even know these people. Best esports game, League of Legends.
That's because you're not into the sports ones.
No. They mean like the professional players in certain sports, like the athletes.
Oh.
I couldn't name a single athlete. Yeah, I guess so.
So like a FIFA person, they would pick one player.
Yeah, it's usually like
award. Or the NBA 2K, something like that.
Yeah, whoever plays this. Yeah. So, yeah. We kind of skipped those. Best sports and racing game is the EA Sports FIFA that everyone plays. Nothing ever beat. I'm pretty sure it wins every year. I don't. This is what I mean, guys. It's just such slim pickings. It's the same shit every year. Best sim or strategy game was Frostpunk 2. Played that for an hour with Sprague, and again, strategy. Again, I don't. Yeah. It's good, but I guess there's nothing else that comes out. Right. So, best family game was Astrobot, which is kind of. Well, we'll get to that one because we'll talk about it in a sec. But best family game, Astrobot, which is kind of like. I think a lot of people. We'll talk about it in a second, and I'll tell you why. Innovation in accessibility. So this is like,
that's the game's name? Innovation?
No, that's the category.
Oh, the category.
So what's basically done the most innovation in a game?
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. And the only one that won was the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown game that came out earlier this year. Great game, but then you look at the category and the other options, which was Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, The Veilguard, like Dragon Age, and Star Wars Outlaws. None of those are innovative. They're not even in the category. Right. So it's like, oh, this thing was standalone. Maybe there's a couple indie games out there that should have been on that list, but yeah. Like I don't know if these companies pay a lot of money to get on.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's like the Oscars.
The indie games can't afford it.
We used to think the Oscars were the best actor, best actress. Then you find out, like Harvey Weinstein, the disgraced guy, he would be one that would basically, allegedly, buy the awards for people. Because, this ingenue, she make more money and you get attention if you win an Oscar.
Right.
And, you have 5 or 6 actors who are picked. And all of a sudden some obscure person wins. And then you come to find out later on from, people that they're catty in the industry. Oh, because he basically bought that Oscar for him.
Right. Best fighting game was Tekken 8. That one makes sense because Tekken's a very difficult and high-end game. The other one that I thought could have won was Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero, which... as a Dragon Ball fan. Very good, but the gameplay is terrible. It's just the same, but you just press one button the whole time, basically. Best action adventure, Black Myth Wukong, obviously deserved. There was really nothing.
Yeah, that was a hit.
It was such a big hit, right? Content creator was Queso. I couldn't even name the other people on here. I've never even seen them. The other 4, that's how little I know. But obviously he wins. I'm surprised if anyone thinks that that's a surprise, because as someone who doesn't pay attention to any content creators, really, I see Queso all the time in TikTok feeds and Instagram and YouTube. I've never seen any. I've never even heard of these people.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. Best role-playing game. I actually don't know what won, but I'm going to assume it was Metaphor Refantasio again, because, again, very good game. Most anticipated game. Grand Theft Auto 6, obviously. I mean, that's a big one.
I thought maybe that or Call of Duty.
Yeah, I think people stop caring about Call of Duty after every year one comes out, so you know it's coming. You're not really looking forward to it.
Anticipating it.
Best independent game or indie game was Baltro. Now, you probably like this game, actually. It's kind of...
Is that the dog, Baltro? No. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know, maybe. But it's a card game. It's like a cross between solitaire and poker, and apparently it's really good. I played a little bit of it, but I couldn't really get into it. I forget if I don't think I ever put that video out, but very fun. But I'm not a big card player. I'm not a big deck builder sort of guy. Best multiplayer, Helldivers 2.
Yeah, I can't imagine. How do you make a game out of that? That's got to be a one-person game, right? You're not playing on a team or anything. It's just kind of...
I don't remember. I'd have to look at it, but I know Jason plays it a lot. He loves it. Best multiplayer game, Helldivers 2. Sure. Again, there just hasn't been that many. I think there's been one multiplayer game that came out this year.
Right.
Call of Duty. Like, I'm trying to think if there was...
Instant winner.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Let's throw a couple other, like, borderline multiplayer games in. Best adaptation. So this was a game that turned into a show. Obviously, Fallout 1, which... Well, actually... I shouldn't say obviously. It was either that or Arcane. I hear more good things about Arcane than Fallout, the show that we watched.
Oh, yeah. What's Arcane? I've never
Arcane's an anime based on...
anime.
Yeah, but even, again, Matt Sprague, all those guys loved that. I haven't seen it because I'm not a big League of Legends fan. But best score and music. Now, what makes me mad is we just had a category before that was best musical score. Or best music in a game. So why do we have a second category? I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, yeah. Best performance. So this was like the actress that does the voice for the game. Yeah. Was Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga. Again, game I didn't finish, was good, but too slow. Too slow. It's cinematic. It's like a cinematic story, which is great. But
just aside, there's a Game of Thrones one coming out.
Yep. We'll play it. Don't worry.
No, I was just curious if you've played it yet and if it's any good, because they're really trying to push this.
There's been a lot
Jon
of Game of Thrones games.
And the main guy. Well, I guess this is a new one where the main people are actually going to be voicing things in it. The Jon Snow character, they keep pushing it with him, and that was my point. I think, don't they have a lot of Game of Thrones out there already? But I guess there's something unique about this one, where they're releasing it with the Game of Thrones people. His voice is on it.
RPG. Set to release next year. I haven't seen anything on this, but
okay.
Game of Thrones, Kings of Road. Tell me it's a mobile game. If it's a mobile game, we ain't touching that shit. And this, unfortunately, it feels like this game should have been released instead of 10 years. Hype has been settled. Okay, well, when's the release date? Won't lie to you, Mom. I'm gonna straight up be honest with you. It looks like shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like them at all. I'm trying to see if they at least have some. Maybe not. As mentioned above, the game will be set during the show's 4th season, during which players will choose between 3 classes. Okay. Plenty of popular character. Oh, official trailer. Here we go. Let me just... I'll tell you real fast because I want to know what it looks like. See, the problem is with a big game like this, like a big... They have the backing to do this amazing trailer.
Right.
And then when you actually comes out, it's like a shitty mobile game that's like a turn-based. So you can't go... It's too early right now.
That are 10 minutes long, and you get basically the whole movie.
Yeah.
Well, I need to watch it now.
They announced that the Witcher 4 game's coming out with Ciri.
Yeah.
Cyril, or I forget, it's been many years since I played Witcher 3. But she's the main character, and it's a long... trailer. I remember when The Witcher, I think it's 2 trailer came out. It's like a full movie, just for the trailer. But
they are hyping Warhammer like crazy.
Oh yeah, it's a big cult following.
Oh my gosh, but you got him,
Henry Cavill.
But on top of it, it's like we started production. The story is done. Like every day, there's a new update on what's progressing with.
Oh yeah, well he's the actor, the director.
Oh, I know the PR machine behind this thing is an overdrive.
He's killing it. So we were. Oh, best performance. I said that one. Best narrative was Metaphor Refantasimo. Makes sense. Best mobile game was Balaltro, which was that card game again. Best art direction, Metaphor. Best ongoing game. So, again, of course you're gonna pick the one that came out this year. The only one that's on here is one that came out this year. Like
right,
you can't pull. Yeah. So okay. Best game direction.
No, wait a minute. It's an ongoing game.
Sure, can go on.
So how can you pull one from this year? Aren't you supposed to take from some of the older ones?
I guess, but again, it's sure. But okay, sure. Let's take that. The one that won, Helldivers 2, came out this year.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
So the rest are Fortnite, Final Fantasy, Diablo 4, which came out this year as well. I think Destiny 2, which has been on for a while. So. Yeah. Best game direction was Astrobot, and game of the year was Astrobot. Now, this is why I have a problem with this. Yeah, so Astrobot is only PlayStation 5, right? Mm-hmm. Think about the shortage we had of PlayStation 5s because, right, at the beginning of the year, all that. There's not that many PlayStation 5 players in comparison to the mass population. Who the hell's voting? Because if Black Myth Wukong, which is on everything, PlayStation, Xbox, who the hell's voting?
Well, yeah, I'd have to see what is the voting like. Who does the voting? Yeah. Is it done? Is it weighted because it is only on one apparatus? Yeah. Does the game get a certain weight?
And Astrobot is good because it seems similar to a game that everyone looks back on and very fondly called Mario Galaxy. Right. It kind of has that same feeling. And Astrobot, although it's a good game, it's a game that kind of plays homage to all the PlayStation games. Right. It's kind of like a kiddie kind of game. It's for kids. It's a family game. Right? It's good. Yeah. It's good, but to beat Black Myth Wukong that has like a full story, actors, dialogue, all that, and then lose to some PlayStation game that I don't know anyone that's played it.
Yeah, that seems a little bit odd. So that I would really wonder, you'd have to look at, and I'm sure somewhere they post who votes, like the structure of the voting and how they pick the people who nominates them and whatnot.
I think next year I'm going to have to do my own show. I got to start like really writing down the games, looking at the games I've played over the year. I got to start doing these because I'm going to start calling bullshit. Yeah. I'm going to make sure it's so big that people just watch mine instead of the fucking...
You do it in parallel to this? They do it each year when they announce their winners.
When they announce, boo! Like Astrobot, it's just not... It just doesn't make sense to me how... that game's going to win over something like a Black Myth Wukong where it's only played in... It's like, remember, it's like... It had like a crazy amount of copies overseas. So is this just an American?
That doesn't make the difference. That should matter from the creative side of it or the quality of it. However, who is voting then? Is it people, are all the developers and designers voting based on, people in that industry? Do they get to pick all the different games? Is it done by people who use it? Which there's a question. There's only one platform that can use it. How many people could that be compared to all the people who play on all these other platforms, the Black Myth Wukong? So I think the question is who votes and who nominates.
Yeah.
Somehow that they have to post that because when you have an awards, I think there's a rule you have to do that.
Yeah, so it's a little, again, and Matt Sprague is completely correct because one of the arguments I make with a lot of games I play back when it had meaning is like The Witcher 3 was a game of the year and rightfully so. It was fantastic. Right. Skyrim obviously was a game of the year like a couple years in a row. It's stuff like that where it's like, oh, those made sense. This doesn't make sense. Right. Because numbers-wise, it just doesn't... There's no way that many people play this Astrobot game in comparison to like a Black Myth Wukong.
Right, so it can't be based on users. It has to be... The voting must be based on something else.
Yeah, unless they're just... to your point, maybe it's weighted, but I don't know how you would know. They don't ask you when you do the votes.
Right. So, wait, do you get asked to do votes?
Oh, yeah. There's like a thing that you can sign up for. I know last year we made the video.
So they do get it from people who are players. Oh, I didn't know that.
We have to do the Steam ones.
But...
Yeah, I got to do the Steam ones sometime this week because I think the Steam ones are next week. But
to your point, if that's the case, what do they base it on? Like Black Myth Wukong, because it's on a lot of platforms, but maybe more people on those platforms don't just play that game. Whereas the Astro Robot one, Astrobot. That's the primary one on PS5. So
right
it's
now,
because it must be.
And it's not even, but it's not. it's a game, but it's like a pseudo game because it's not like they started anything from scratch. The game, well, it's tough to explain, but right, it just plays homage to all the PlayStation 5 characters that are in there, kind of like a childish way.
Right.
Which is fun, don't get me wrong, but to win Game of the Year, which came out like 2 months ago, when Black Myth Wukong, remember all the articles? Remember all the like...
Even I brought one for the podcast about how popular it is.
Yeah.
I don't even know games.
So it just kind of goes to show, the Game Awards have lost its meaning.
Fixed. The fix is in.
It's time for me to... Guys, I'll do it. I'll start. We'll hire a company.
Finger on the scale.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe my vote was the difference. If I voted this year, I would have changed the outcome.
That's what changed it all. Yeah.
So, all right. That's really all I got, Mom. Hour 3 tonight. Not too bad. We got some Attack on Titan to watch. Because you were like, Chris, I want to see the next episode.
Yes, of course. Got to get out another 2. Got to get this done.
Mom, I can't do another 10 episodes. I got to stop you at some point.
I'm going to be stuck because you're going to go back. And hell no, I'm not watching it again.
Okay, I have to send it to you. Okay, well, just wait till... If we can get through the first season and you'll go, oh, once the politics come in, Mom, and you're like, oh my God. And then the other secrets start coming out. You go, what?
I have to figure out how to watch it on my own and call you afterwards.
Well, it's probably going to be on... Yeah, you could probably find it on... Well, it's not on Netflix, we know, but it's definitely on one of the things that you watch it on.
Then again, if we drive down to your house, that's 8 hours. That's 16 shows right there, right?
Yeah. You think we're going to watch... Listen, even I don't know if I could do that.
Back and marathon.
Yeah. As Dad's listening it to Japanese, turn that shit off.
Yeah, we'll have to put headsets on because Dad's going to listen to his music or podcast.
Yeah.
No, that's extreme. It's crazy. But,
I know. But...
How else am I going to watch it? You're going to have to give me the link.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll have to find it on, like... I have to find the English version for you. I think if you go to... I know it's on a Netflix or a Hulu or something. Whatever you have. I know it's on there.
No. I'm going to do payback. I'm going to get the Cliff Notes like you little shits used to do in school and not read the book or watch the
whole thing. The Cliff Notes?
I'm going to cheat.
Do you remember the old Cliff Notes books?
Of course I do.
Yeah, I remember
those. Those are the greatest things ever.
Now, if I remember, I didn't have an allowance, so you were buying those for us.
Yeah, of course. Anything to get through this freaking school year.
Yeah. All right, guys. Only things I have to promote. Obviously, we've been posting social media and stuff. I go back after Christmas. I posted the Indiana Jones game, which... pretty good. Go check that one out. And then we should be back on track definitely in the new year. But we'll see. We'll see in the sense of time-wise. I don't know how much of a gap there is between Christmas and New Year's, right?
It's a week.
Is it a full week?
It's always a week.
Right, but if I'm there... Well, it's not really a full week because...
It's Wednesday to Wednesday.
Right, but... Oh, yeah. So Thursday, Friday, if someone's down with me, it probably won't be till... after. So yeah, we're still... There's going to be a time where I won't be able to post anything because of the holidays and stuff. I just don't have the time.
People will be busy too.
I just...
One would hope.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to get...
pause to spend some time with their family.
Yeah, I'd like to get one... How many more Let me just check a calendar real fast. I think we could get 2 more podcasts in unless we want a backlog, but... Where's my calendar? Today's the 14th. God, I haven't opened this calendar app on this computer in a while. This thing might break. So today's the... What's today? Today's the 14th. Yeah, so we got next week, which I'll post 1 or 2 videos, and then boom, and then... Oh, yeah, so if I go back to 28th, New Year... So we probably won't start till another week after that, right? So January 1st... Well, I guess we could stream on the 2nd and 3rd, because by then I'll be back, and then I don't know when you guys will leave, but...
It's okay.
Would you like to join, brother? We're pretty much done anyway, but... So yeah, so that's kind of the plan. So yeah, hopefully my brothers can do one before
that would be good.
The end of the year, before we all go our separate ways. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So we'll see you next week. Social media, promo code Streamlinks, Discord down below, and hopefully we'll see you then.